Om. Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. So after having dealt with the chapter Shloka 18 extensively, we've done that repetition quite a number of times. Karmanyah karmayah paschet akarmani cha karmaya sa buddhiman manusheshu sayuktah krishna karma krita. So we go to the next verse. Yasya sarve samarambhaha. So in this verse, Krishna is referring to knowledge alone. His description of one who has this knowledge continues in the next verse. So we went through the argument of the Purva Mimamsa as well, that it's not just, it is through karma that you get moksha. But finally, Shankara proves that it is only through knowledge. Sabuddhiman manusheshu. Kritsna karma krit. It's not Kritsna karma with. It is Kritsna karma krit. The one who has this knowledge that the Atma is the non-doer has nothing else to do. He's completely exhausted that list of to-do things. So, Krishna continues. His description of the one who has this knowledge continues in the next verse. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagnidagdha karmanam tamahu panditam buddhaha. Yasya, for whom, sarve, all, samarambhaha, undertakings, kama, free from desire for results and will, jnana agni dagdha karmanam, whose actions are burnt up by the fire of knowledge, tam, him, buddhaha, the sages, panditam, wise, ahuhu, call. So, yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnana agni dagdha karmanam tam buddhaha panditam ahuhu. The one for whom all undertakings are free from desire for results and will, whose actions are burnt up by the fire of knowledge, that person wise. The The person who was earlier described as being able to see inaction in action and action in inaction is again praised here. This person understands the nature of karma and akarma. This person understands the nature of karma and akarma. He or she knows that akarma does not mean not doing an action. Rather, it is seeing oneself in the very action itself as akarta, a non-doer. This is self-knowledge. The knowledge that makes you free, that makes you a sarva karma krit, one who has done everything that is to be done. There is a difference between action and activities that is to be noted here. An activity is an undertaking that implies a number of actions, various steps that you take. Behind each activity, there is a plan, and based on this plan, the activity is undertaken for achieving a given purpose. Any given activity meant to produce a given result has a certain beginning. Whether the activity building a house, cooking, or doing business, all such undertakings are called samarambhas. When a wise person undertakes any activity, he or she does so without kama, desire, and sankalpa, will. Kama, desire, is wanting to achieve something for which there is a will, a sankalpa. A sankalpa is saying, by doing this, I will achieve that. What happens and for whom does it happen when a wise person undertakes activities free of kama and sankalpa? Is there such a thing as activity for the wise? Is there activity for the wise person? It has already been said that a wise person is kritsna karmakrit. Since kritsna karmakrit means the one for whom everything that has to be done has been done, there is nothing to be done by the person. The person has the vision of Atma, the self, as Satchit Ananda and knows that he or she is a karta. This vision being there, the person is limitless, full, purna. How then can there be any activity for a person who has this knowledge? How can he or she talk, walk, see, hear, or think? For such a person, everything is over. The will has been all used up. It has been fulfilled. And if the will is not there, desire is not there. How then is activity possible for the person? Further, if anyone who talks does not know the Atma. In fact, this is another contention. Some people think that as long as a person talks about Atma, he or she does not know. And once the person knows, he or she does not talk about it. Sorry. This means that before knowing Atma, you can talk about it. And after knowing Atma, you cannot talk at all. A very common contention prevalent in certain circles is that one who sees does not talk and one who talks does not see. This is why in India, there are so many Mauni Babas, sadhus, who do not talk. According to this contention, if you become a jnani, you perform no activity whatsoever. You do not even breathe. Since not breathing means dying, Who would want knowledge, jnana, under such circumstances? If I tell you I'm going to give you jnana, but the moment you get it, you will die, you will naturally ask, when will you be getting this jnana? I can only tell you that you may get it tomorrow or today, or even at this very moment. After all, being knowledge, it can happen at any time. This also means that at any time you can die, today, tomorrow, or right now. If having heard my response, you ask, Swamiji, where will you be in 12 years? I will know that you have decided to live 12 more years. The period of time will vary depending on how old you are now and how much you still want to do. But definitely, you will postpone gaining this knowledge. In fact, no one will ever be interested in a moksha that amounts to death because no one wants to be mortal. Everyone is interested only in being immortal. Even if I say you will die and become immortal, no one will go for it. Everyone wants to live and be immortal at the same time. In fact, if this contention were correct, there would be no teacher. We would have a situation where only those who do not know can perform the activity of teaching, and those who know cannot because they are Krishna Karma Krit. Since the person who does not know cannot teach, and the Krishna Karma Krit also cannot teach, because teaching is an activity, who would teach? Therefore, this meaning of the word Krishna Karma Krit is not what is being conveyed here. Although Krishna Karma Krit means there is nothing for the person to do, it does not mean that he or she does nothing. Krishna drove the chariot and was teaching Arjuna. Shankara wrote a number of commentaries, and Vyasa wrote any number of books. Assuming they knew what they were teaching, they were definitely engaged in activities. Even in terms of talking alone, they were very active. How then can you say a teacher? So, understanding what does Krishna Karma Krit actually means. Does it mean the person does not do any activity at all, including breathing, which means that the moment he gets knowledge, he dies? That is the contention, that he doesn't even speak. That's why it is said there are so many Mauni Babas who do not even speak. So, that is certainly not the contention. So, what does it mean, Krishna Karma Krit? We went through this in the last verse. So, the will to do, the desire to do anything, kama sankalpa varjita, sarve samarambha. So, that is not there. They do whatever is to be done. They do it out of joy, and it's not for joy. Why do the wise teach? For the teacher also, there is something to do. He or she has to teach. And why does the teacher teach? Does the person teach because he or she is going to get something out of it? If so, then the person does not know. Only when a teacher teaches, knowing the teacher is me, but I, the Atma, is not the teacher, does the person really know what he or she is teaching. And if this is clear, why should a person not teach? I'll repeat this para again. So, for the teacher, there is something to do. He or she has to teach. And why does the teacher teach? Does the person teach because he or she is going to get something out of it? If so, then the person does not know. Only when a teacher teaches, the teacher is me, but I, Atma, is not the teacher. So, coming from the sense of non-doership, akartritva. I, the Atma, is Satchit Ananda. So that is coming. This teacher is coming from that understanding. That I, the Atma, is not the teacher. Does the person really know what he or she is teaching? And if this is clear, why should a person not teach? Then whether one does activity or does not do any activity, it does not matter. Because the understanding is clear. There is clarity of knowledge. And then karma doesn't stick. There is no karma at all. Karma comes in only when there is, or karma phala affects them only when you are a karta. We've seen that before, right? So the Veda addresses the the karma kanda aspect of Veda addresses the karta, the doer. And it is the doer that has the cycle of samsara, which itself is a notion. It starts with avidya, kama, karma, karma phala, papa, punya, and then in order to exhaust this, you take a janma, and this samsara cycle continues. But whereas for a person who is akarta, who understands that Atma is akarta, there is no more cycle of samsara. So whether he does any activity or not, it's immaterial. He can be quiet like a Mauni Baba, sit by himself, or he can go out into the world and like all the other masters we've had. Take Shankaracharya himself. He walked the length and breadth of Bharat and established ashrams. Same with Swami Vivekananda. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa continued doing his Devi Upasana. And right now we see Gurudev taking the whole world by in a wave of happiness. So if you ask why the person should teach, I will ask why should he or she not teach? By teaching, the person does not come out of himself or herself. In karma, he or she sees akarma. Whatever you may about yourself, that self is always there. No one ever comes out of the self, in fact. Whatever you know, you are. Therefore, if a person knows, I am Satchit Ananda and I perform no action, there is no question of any mistake being made. The person always sees akarma in any karma. Why then should he or she not teach or do anything else? Such a person teaches because there is no reason why he or she should not teach. This is the only reason, in fact. If there is someone who wants to listen, to learn, why should the person not teach? There should be no other reason for teaching. Someone wants to learn and therefore someone teaches. There should be nothing more to it than that. And this Guru Shishya Sampradaya has continued like that because there is always someone who wants to learn. And then there are these teachers who teach. So there is no other reason for this person, the enlightened person, to teach. The only reason is there is someone who wants to learn. So there is no other ulterior motive oh, I'll get name and fame, I'll get this and that. All that is not there at all. The only simple, sublime reason to teach is there is someone who wants to learn. If a person thinks action is bondage, then action becomes satya for that person. To think that certain actions are bondage and certain other actions are not bondage is all confusion. And to remove such confusion, karma must be understood. Because people do not understand karma and akarma, they say that Vedanta Shastra and that it is karma alone that produces moksha. Krishna himself said that even sages are confused about karma and akarma. Kavayopyatra mohitaha. Tatte karma pravakshami yad jnatva mokshase shubhat. So he says that this karma akarma is a confusing aspect that even sages are confused. So again, this is the line of thinking of the Purva Mimamsa who say Vedanta Shastra is only theory, so it is only through karma that you gain moksha. Karma is not an ordinary topic and is not easy to understand. Many people, even those who are very serious, have lost themselves in it because they do not understand. Organizations and many social services, the non-understanding of this topic. So karma is something that is to be understood. For one who understands karma and akarma, teaching is not an action, even though there is action, because the person sees inaction in action, knowing himself or herself to be a karta. For such a person, there is no karma, akarma, or anything else, no desire or will. There is not even the desire to teach. If a teacher who knows what it is all about does not have an opportunity to teach, he or she does not lose anything. The person will not become lonely or be at a loss for something to do, nor is anything lost if the person teaches. So let me know if anybody wants to share, do some manana or get me to repeat anything before we move forward. So basically it is saying activities are still possible for a Jivan Mukta. A single action, it is desire driven. But the Kritsna Karma Krit, even that will to do, is exhausted. There's no more will for the person. Because he is coming from the space of non-doership. Yes, this person is doing it, but I am not the karta. He or she is coming from the clear understanding that I, the Atma, is Satchit Ananda, is Purna. There's nothing left to do. But if there is a reason to do, like if a person approaches him for learning, he will teach. And I think like all the Sikh gurus, there was a reason to fight and protect the land, and they fought. So the clear understanding of karma and akarma is a confusing topic. No wonder we did the last shloka several times over. Because an understanding is important. A clear understanding. We might have only maybe a superficial understanding, but again and again, going back to it and understanding a deeper meaning, finally resolving into knowledge. So from paroksha to aparokshanubhuti is the whole thing. So it's all about knowing. It's not about doing karma and gaining moksha, like what the Purva Mimamsa says. So when a person teaches and does activity, it does not mean he or she is losing something or gaining something. There is nothing to lose, nothing to gain. Once self-knowledge is established, it is established. So to teach in order to save the world is nothing but delusion. I repeat this, to teach in order to save the world is nothing but delusion. Anyone who thinks that he or she teaches in order to save the world is under the spell of a great delusion. In fact, the person is in need of being saved, and in the meantime, the world should be saved from such a person. Self appointed saviors definitely create problems. If the person thinks that God appointed him or her to save the world, the question can be asked, why should God have appointed you to do this? He can save the world himself. What God is he who would appoint someone to save the world when he himself is almighty? Why should an almighty God want an intermediary? That I'm going to save the world is the greatest delusion. How can you save the world when you yourself need an entire society to keep you going? Your food, clothing, and shelter all come to you because so many people work to grow the food, sew the clothes, and build the houses. Who are you to save anyone? You are as helpless as anyone else. And what is it, or who is the one that you can save? On the other hand, if you have something that you can spare and still survive, and there is someone who needs it and can be helped by it, there is no problem. It is a simple human thing. There is no question of anyone saving the world, in fact. Such thinking is nothing but delusion, ahankara, or the ego. The world has survived for so many years without you. Even now, in spite of you, it continues to survive. So, how many people are you going to save? Whereas, if you say that you have something and can share it with another who needs it, you are a mature human being. What everyone has is to be shared. Whether you have enough to give to one person or to 1,000 people makes no difference. If you do not have money to share, you may have some time to share and you share it. Or if you have some good words to share with those who need them and you do so. That's why the salvaging is not salvation. People who talk of salvation, salvaging the world, saving the world. I am the savior. All that is bundled up into humbug, meaningless, right? But if you have something to share, that is different. So good words are not words that place one's hope somewhere, nor are they good news. Good words are the words that speak of your accepting the person without judging. As he or she is, you accept the person totally. Such words boost the morale of the person and are not promises in terms of the future, after death, and so on. Who wants or needs such things? They only postpone resolving the problem. No practical person wants to hear that there is no hope here, but only later in heaven, and that they should ensure that they go to heaven and not to damnation. What kind of philosophy is this? Who wants these kind of words? The person needs are simple words that make him or her feel acceptable. So I repeat this paragraph again. Good words are not words that place one's hopes somewhere. So very often we have in several religions that, you do this, even in the Hindu dharma, you have this. You do this, you get punya. You get a good place in heaven. So you're placing your hope somewhere. So all that amounts to kamya karma. I do this and I'll get this. Nor are they good news. Good words are the words that speak of your accepting the person without judging. Is it disturbing? I mean, I'm actually outside and the chimes are. Let me know if it is disturbing the audio.
No, Didi, it is fine.
It is not. It's not, right? Okay.
No.
So, good words are the words that speak of your accepting the person without judging. And isn't that how Vedanta starts? Vedanta, if we did not have Vedanta, tell us, hey, listen, you are this, Tattvamasi. They start off with saying, Aham alpajnaha, kinchijnaha. They understand we as jivas are in this state. Accepting that jiva is in this state, from there the teaching begins. And they say, no, this is what your true nature is. So there is acceptance, the non-judging, and then the teaching begins. So good words are the words that speak of your accepting the person without judging. As he or she is, you accept the person totally. Such words boost the morale of the person and are not promises in terms of the future, after death, and so on. Who wants or needs such things? They only postpone resolving the problem. No practical person wants to hear that there is no hope here, but only later in heaven, and that they should ensure that they go to heaven and not to damnation. What kind of philosophy is this? Who wants these kinds of words? What a person needs are simple words that make him or her feel acceptable. Enough. Words that tell me that there is one person who understands me as I am, and that I am acceptable to that person. Are very beautiful words indeed. They create an atmosphere wherein no one saves anyone. We do not learn Vedanta to save people. Much to think that if you enlighten the majority of people, to save yourself from condemning yourself is enough. By doing less to deal with. Also, by being a cheerful person, you are not radiating your sorrow to others. Sorrow is a very contagious disease. Doors and windows cannot stop it. Even though you keep your doors and windows locked, somehow the sorrow of others manages to creep in. It has its own ways of traveling and does not even need keyholes. Thus, if there is one person on earth who is happy with himself or herself, that person is doing a great service to the world, because he or she has no sadness to radiate to others. You say that you keep your sadness to yourself, that does not radiate to others. Doing this just creates additional problems, because eventually the build-up will result in outbursts of anger and frustration. Therefore, you had better not keep your sadness to yourself. Talking about your sorrow to someone is definitely better than holding on to it. All that you can do then is save yourself from your own persecutions. The world does not persecute you. You persecute yourself with your own self-condemnation. This is why it is said that you are both your own best friend and your own worst. You can be cruel to yourself and you can be kind to yourself. And when that freedom is there, any discerning pair of eyes with a mind that has some leisure will recognize it. People will ask you how you became so free. You seem to have something, they will say. What is it that you have? Please tell me. So let me read this again. To save yourself is enough. So this knowledge, this is where I understand from what space Nana was coming from. He says, when I initially asked him about sharing the Gita knowledge, he said, if you are interested, I will teach you. Why do you want to, basically, this path is a journey for oneself. Because if you you free yourself from this, from being sorrowful, you're doing the world a great deed, so to say. So this path is a path that one walks alone. In the truest sense, I mean, I'm not saying Sangha Chadvam, all that is there, no doubt. But when you look at it from the angle of gaining knowledge, it's a singular path. So to save yourself is enough. Words that tell me that there is one person who understands me as I am and that I am acceptable to that person are very beautiful words indeed. That's why whenever we go to Gurudev, Gurudev has only one question. He said he doesn't need anything from us. He accepts us the way we are. He just wants to know, are you happy? That's it. That's the only question he asks. However, whoever goes to him, each one is accepted. Be it a terrorist, be it a king, be it a slum dweller, be it a drug addict, be it a prisoner, everybody is accepted. So they create an atmosphere wherein I am accepted. That is words that tell me that there is one person who understands me as I am and that I am acceptable to that person are very beautiful words indeed. They create an atmosphere wherein I am accepted. This is all anyone wants. No one saves anyone. We do not learn Vedanta to save people, much less the world. To think that if you enlighten the majority of people, society will be transformed is the greatest delusion. Why? Because pairs of opposites will continue. That is the nature of samsara. There is never ever going to be a time where you will have only good, all enlightened people. There will always be a mixture of opposites in the world. And that is how the world keeps moving. So that's the greatest delusion if you think that if you enlighten majority of people, society will be transformed. To save yourself from condemning yourself is enough. By doing so, there will be one problem less for the world to deal with. Also, by being a cheerful person, you are not radiating your sorrow to others. Sorrow is a very contagious disease. Doors and windows cannot stop it. Even though you keep your doors and windows locked, somehow the sorrow of others manages to creep in. It has its own ways of traveling and does not even need keyholes. Thus, if one person on earth who is happy with himself or herself, that person is doing a great service to the world because he or she has no sadness to radiate to others.
Jai Gurudev. In our
So,
home
work
only,
within, work with yourself. Come again?
in our home only, if one
I
person
couldn't
is
hear
sad,
what you said.
that you can't hear. Okay.
Yeah, now it's okay. Yeah.
Actually, when someone is sad in the home, the means everyone feels sadness, and there is so much pressure. So
Yeah.
even if we are cheerful, our that enthusiasm goes away. So in that case, also we have to just only ignore or let them go. And whatever they are going through, we cannot make them happy. We can only tell this is not the way, but it is on them how they need to be happy. They understand they need to be happy. Otherwise, whole atmosphere gets saddened. We mostly most of the time we feel in the home like this whenever is someone is sad.
Which is true. You can
Gurudev says no, they it became habit. They want to be like that only.
yeah.
So it is how to improve that then? How to
You can
make
just
them
have compassion for them.
compassion?
You cannot also become unhappy with them. Then there's no point. You're losing your own happiness because someone else is unhappy. It is going to change your internal milieu. Your peace is gone. Correct? So to
But the same
maintain your
vibration again comes in the home. Means
huh?
whenever but the same vibration, if they are unhappy or sad,
Yeah,
the
but
same radiate.
correct. But if you continue to be happy from within, the happiness radiates. One happy person can create a wave of happiness.
That is correct.
Look at Krishna. Look at Mahabharata itself. There was so much of negativity on both sides. Each one was warring each other. But he stood straight, right? He stood stand alone. And he was able to give this precious knowledge in that heated situation of a war situation. Just imagine. So a person who is centered will radiate that, just like how sorrow, it has the same thing. Sorrow also will radiate, but depends on how strong and centered one is. You will not let that negativity of the other person get into you. Rather, your happiness will radiate, and it will eventually make a difference. If you stay unflustered, if you stay peaceful, there is something that will trigger. What is this? I am being so, that person himself will start questioning himself or herself. What is this? This person is so unruffled. There is something about him or her. So what we need to do is just be role models of centeredness. Not that you should not act upon or help them come out of it. Again, it is not to save them. That is, if you think you're going to save them, no. You can just show the path.
It's
This
a
is what you
delusion
can
again.
do. Huh?
It's a delusion again. We
Yeah.
are changing someone like that. That thinking is also a delusion,
We
making
are
them
sharing. See,
change
you can
also.
come from the space of sharing. See, that is why, if you remember, I think most of us here are teachers. Even if we are not teachers, if we have this knowledge, now we don't go on talking. Gurudev himself said, don't go on talking and giving knowledge everywhere. As in, on the dinner table, this and that. It's like, oh, so you don't, in fact, it is said, even Gita towards the end, it is said, this knowledge is to be given to those who ask. This knowledge is for those who want to learn. A person who is uninitiated, who is not ready for it, there's no point in giving him or her. I'm a big example for this, because Nana has been telling me and us for so many decades now. But it was only that the inspiration came. I knew Gita, for that matter. If it's knowing about Gita, knowing all the 18 chapters, that's different. But wanting to delve into it, attempting to get what the Gita wants to give, started only a few years ago. So it is each one's journey. We are just there to handhold them. That's it. We are not there to save them. We have to save ourselves. That's enough. So to think that if you enlighten the majority of people, yeah, this is done, right? As if there is one person on earth who is happy with himself or herself, that person is doing a great service to the world, because he or she has no sadness to radiate to others. Like it is said, we have pollution, air pollution, water pollution. There is also mental pollution. A person who is depressed or sad leaves this air of depression around him. Similarly, a happy person leaves those happy vibrations around. So we are polluting the world that much less by being happy. You may say that you keep your sadness to yourself so that it does not radiate to others. Doing this just creates additional problems, because eventually the build-up will result in outbursts of anger and frustration. So that is also not the solution. Keeping your sadness to yourself and not sharing with others, right? Therefore, you had better not keep your sadness to yourself. Talking about your sorrow to someone is definitely better than holding on to it. All that you can do then is save yourself from your own persecutions. The world does not persecute you. You persecute yourself with your own self-condemnation. So we either blame ourselves or we blame the world. We create these stories in our mind, the self-talk that goes on. So that is what we need to work on. This is why it is said that you are both your own best friend and your own enemy and your own worst enemy. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva vipuratmanaha. There is no other enemy or friend outside. You are your own friend. You are your own enemy. The mind, that is. You can be cruel to yourself and you can be kind to yourself. To save yourself from your own persecutions is freedom. So the whole Mahabharata is actually in there, in the mind. And again, it is your lone journey, right? If you look at it that way, it is your alone journey. And when that freedom is there, any discerning pair of eyes with a mind that has some leisure will recognize it. See, when that freedom is there, to save yourself from your own persecutions is freedom. So once you free your mind of all the self-blame and blaming others, number one, then a discerning pair of eyes with that little discrimination, viveka, and a mind that has some leisure. You have to create that space for this knowledge, this pursuing this knowledge, that, and then it will recognize it. People will ask you how you became so free. You seem to have something, they will say. What is it you have? Please tell me. See, like we were talking about someone in the house being sorrowful. But when you remain centered, they will come back and they say, how come you're being so cool about it? I'm going through so much and you're so cool about it. Tell me, what is it? Wisdom has no name. We have 5 minutes. Let me just read this part and then we'll share. Okay? Vedanta is a name, but wisdom, jnana, has no name. It is just knowledge. Others will see that you seem to be free and will naturally want to know what you know. Your word may ring true to them and they will want to know more, provided, of course, they know you as someone they can trust, someone they can meet without being judged. If there is such a person in the world who will not go to that person and become his or her student naturally, who will not go to that person and become his or her student naturally? This then is how the wise become teachers, not because they want to teach, but because there are people who want to learn. Such a person has no karma or sankalpa, even though he or she performs certain activities. In this verse, the person is further described as Jnana Agni Dagdha Karma, one whose actions are burnt up by the fire of knowledge. For the one who has this knowledge, all the karmas standing in his or her account are totally wiped out. This is the person the sages call wise. Only the wise can call another person wise. If one who is not wise calls someone wise, there is a problem because the person is doing so based on his or her own concept of wisdom. Here it is said that sages, Udaha, call the same person wise who was described earlier as Kritsna Karma Krit. Such a person is able to see the actionlessness as the nature of Atma. Because he or she sees actionlessness as the nature of the self, the person recognizes himself or herself as a karta, a non-doer, action being impossible for Atma. So it is because people want to learn that wise become teachers. So we'll stop here. We'll do a bit of Manana and then continue tomorrow. Anyone wants to share? In fact, it's good for everybody to share.
The best thing is to work on ourselves and be happy, to make environment happy as well, and home, everything happy.
Yeah.
That's a great learning.
Isn't it? We always want others to improve. See, in our experience, when you go talk about courses, what do they say? Oh, I want my wife to do. I want my child to do. We put ourselves, we say, oh, we are perfect. We don't need any of this.
Yes, Didi.
Right?
But
look within. Antarmukhi. You have to look within and clean up the mess that you have within you.
Yes.
That inner persecutions. Do we accept our own self? See, that is why it is so important to be self-accepting. If you are not comfortable with your own self, you cannot be comfortable with any other person. You will always find faults. You accept yourself the way you are. Forgive yourself the way you are. Then you'll be able to forgive others. So everything starts from me, I. In fact, the whole world is created from me. I'm the center of this universe. And then our own mind is our best friend as well as our worst enemy. Best friend is when you are in that space of love, acceptance, forgiveness. When all the sattvic elements are blossomed. When the human values are all reigning high, then your mind is your own best friend. But when it's the other way around, distorted form of love, all the Arishad Vargas, all the 6 different Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsaryas, they have overtaken you. That's it. It is your worst enemy. And 2 things Gurudev says, don't, on this path, you should not do this. No self-blame and no blaming others. You can point out something that's not right. Doesn't mean you should not point out. Pointing out is different. Blaming is different. Blaming is where you make the person feel guilty. But you have to take responsibility. There's something not right going on. You have to mention it. So we'll stop here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. Go ahead, Bilda.
निर्गुणं निश्चलं निर्विकारम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म अत्र वेदान्तमेव प्रमाणम् बोधक सद्गुरु तत्त्वनिष्ठः ईश्वरानुगृहीतेन वेद्यम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ज्ञानगम्यं तुरीयं हृदिस्थम् आत्मरूपं हि तत् येन ज्ञातम् सोऽध्वनः पारमाप्नोति सत्यम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ब्रह्मज्ञस्य तु ब्रह्मैव सर्वं नास्ति मोहो भयं नैव दुःखम् तस्य स्वानन्दमग्नं हि चित्तम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म निर्गुणं निश्चलं निर्विकारम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ब्रह्मैव सत्यम्